Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Bianca Collins. I'm the Curator of Public Programs for the Fowler Museum at UCLA. Thank you for joining us today or tonight, depending on where it is you're tuning in from around the world. The Fowler is proud to present the life and times of the Gladzor Gospels as part of our Lunch and Learn series, which offers easily digestible explorations of charismatic objects from around the world. We're so pleased that you joined us to chew on some sustenance and feed your mind and soul. Today, we are joining the one and only Gassia Armenian on a journey tracing the history of a masterpiece of illumination, the Gladzor Gospels. Gassia will begin at the Monastery of Gladzor in Armenia and end at the UCLA Library Special Collections. Gassia is the curatorial and research associate at the Fowler Museum at UCLA, where she conducts collections research and facilitates curatorial and scholarly endeavors. She also liaises with domestic and international institutions, private collectors, and lenders to the Fowler, and manages various aspects of planning and organizing the museum's exhibitions and publications. Over the past 20 years, Gassia has helped to mount many exhibitions at the Fowler. Prior to that, she served as a consultant and project coordinator for the U.S. Agency for International Development for Junior Achievement of Armenia, developing and implementing civics education training programs and teaching methodologies. If you have any questions during this program, please do submit them through the Q&A function found at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can submit and upvote questions that you would like to be considered to be answered at the end of the program. All right, that's all from me. Over to you, Gassia.
From the celestial to the terrestrial, I am delighted that you could join me for lunch today, but we are not going to stay here. Let's go from the Fowler Museum at UCLA to the Republic of Armenia for this very special feast. Are you ready for a trip across continents and across time? We land in Yerevan, the capital city of Armenia, and we head southeast to the town of Gladzor, population 2,100 as of today. Even though this town is known as a resort area, we are here for a different purpose. And why did we embark on this eastward journey of over 7,000 miles and over 800 years back in time? For the unique opportunity to see the original home of the crown jewel of the UCLA Special Collections, the Gladzor Gospels, that is currently exhibited in our gallery. This book is one of the most venerated Armenian illuminated manuscripts written in the early 1300s in the Monastery of Gladzor. This 582-page illuminated Armenian language manuscript has exquisite canon tables and intricately illustrated pages with scenes from the Gospels of Mark, Matthew, John, and Luke. But it also chronicles the history of the Armenian people from the 1300s to 1968, 2021, and possibly beyond. And what do an Armenian Baroness, a Mongol Khan, and a book of Gospels have in common? We will follow the lead of the statements written at the end of the book, otherwise known as colophon entries, where we are given details about the source and the ownership of this publication. Actually, do you have books at home given to you by grandparents, by relatives, or passed on to you from generations? They would usually have inscriptions in the front inside cover of the book with dates, names. Those are your own family's colophons, your own history. Here it is, exhibited at the Fowler Museum This is the incipit page, the introductory page of the Gospel according to Mark. Avedaran est Margosi. It takes the center stage of the exhibition, communication systems in a global context. Well, in this exhibition, you can see from the Armenian illuminated bird letterings, which are on UNESCO's Intangible World Heritage List as of 2019, to the first ARPANET, Advanced Research Project Agency Network, ARPANET message, which is the technical foundation of the internet. And you can also see many other unique writing systems. Now let's go to the monastery. The first records about the Gladzor Monastery refer to 795 Common Era. It flourished during the Middle Ages, and it was one of the largest medieval universities worldwide. Its graduating students were at the forefront of religious and scientific studies and innovations, as well as academic careers. The Gladzor Monastery University was famous for its scriptorium and the production of illuminated manuscripts. From this point on, we will follow the lead of the colophons, and they will guide us through the incredible history and the stories of the Holy Book. This is our first stop, page 577. It indicates that it was written in Vayotsor at the monastery of Gladzor. Then it was purchased by Baroness Vachach in 1377. Now, Baroness Vachach was a member of the Orbelian princely family. She was married into the Broshian princely family, who were the guardians and the protectors of the Gladzor monastic complex. Here is our Baroness. We move on to page 578. Here we have two important entries. The first one chronicles how the accursed Timur or Tamerlane, the Turco-Mongol warlord, was on his cruel rampage and invasion of territories from Samarkand, Uzbekistan to Georgia. And on his way to capture the king of the Georgians, he trampled through Armenia, through Gladzor, and kidnapped this holy book. He held it hostage or prisoner of war. It is also written that the princely couple, Baron Mardiros Broshian and Baroness Ladam, daughter of Baroness Vachach, were the current owners of the holy book. They paid a heavy ransom and saved the book from bondage. Timur Lane returned it. Here is our Mongol Khan on his warpath. If you recall, I used the word kidnapped, and I did it on purpose. The sacred book had a higher place and status than the children of a ruling family. Therefore, capturing a sacred book was the highest form of subjugation of a people by an invader. As indicated on page 579, after freeing the book from captivity, Baron Mardiros and Baroness Ladam gift the book to the Geghart monastic complex, 88 miles away from Gladzor, for safekeeping. And the colophons at the end of the holy book end. This is the monastery of Geghart. The first church was dug into the rock in 1250 Common Era, and it was the seat of the Roshan dynasty. Today, Geghart is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This is where it remained for 200 years until the early 17th century. So a couple of centuries later, the book resurfaces in New Julfa, Iran. And again, it chronicles the history of the Armenian people. But wait a minute, what happened? What happened? How did this holy book get from Geghart, Armenia to New Julfa, Iran? How did it cross 315 miles? We have to rewind and go back in time 300 years, having as reference the history of the establishment of the city and the community of New Julfa. At the beginning of the 1600s, Shah Abbas I, the Safavid Shahanshah of Persia, was returning from a victorious war with the Ottoman Turks. On his way back, as he was passing through Armenia, he ordered the mass deportation of hundreds of thousands of Armenians from the city of Julfa in the Nakhichevan region in southwest Armenia. He resettled them on the outskirts of Isfahan, then the capital city of the Safavid dynasty, and the city was called New Julfa, Nor Chugha. There, the Armenian merchants held a pivotal role in the silk production and trade globally. New Julfa became a prominent cultural and economic center for the Armenian community. Actually, it was Khoja Nazar, the Armenian mayor of New Julfa, Nor Chugha, who ordered the construction of the All Savior Church in 1606, still functioning today, as well as the Meds Khojens Surkevork or St. George Church in 1611, which was named in his honor, and it is still functioning. This is the entrance of the Meds Khojens Church, where the Gladzor Gospels were kept. There are 2 pages bearing witness to the new owners of the book. Page 24a, Father Yovakim Abraham, and page 25, where there are 3 entries. The first entry indicates Church of Meds Khojens, Surkevork or St. George. The holy book is gifted to their priest, Father Yovakim Abraham. The second entry is by Father Yovakim Abraham, acknowledging ownership of the holy book. And the third entry, dated May 1901, indicates that Archpriest Mardiros Derhovanesyan gifts the holy book to Maish Ostan, servant of God. As a matter of fact, I just received the scans of the correspondence between Father Yovakim Abraham and Mardiros Derhovanesyan from the Minassian archives here at UCLA. And I hope to find additional stories of succession of ownership. But wait, who is Maish Ostan? Who did Maish Ostan give the book to? How many hands did it change until it was acquired by Dr. Garo Owen Minassian of Isfahan? Again and again, it chronicles the history of the Armenian people. Dr. Minassian was born in 1897 in Isfahan, Iran. He was a medical doctor as well as an avid book collector. His library included manuscripts in Armenian, Arabic, Farsi, Ottoman Turkish, and Urdu, as well as first publications of books in print. And he had a varied array of sources for this. He bought them from individuals, bookstores, publishers, auction houses, and he kept very detailed, meticulous inventory of his cherished books. However, a few of them came to him from his patients in lieu of payment for medical services. Again, it chronicles the history of the Armenian people. In 1967, the late Professor Avedis K. Sanjan of UCLA met with Dr. Minassian in London and persuaded him to donate his extensive collection to the UCLA Research Library. With Chancellor Franklin D. Murphy's visionary involvement, funds were allocated to purchase the majority of the collection. The Garo O. Minassian collection entered the holdings of the University Research Library in 1968. Now, Dr. Minassian acquired this holy book before 1935. And how do we know that? This date is based on the date of the book stamps that he used to mark his acquisitions. Two of his book stamps on page 24B and 337 show the date 1935. However, the third one on page 582 of the manuscript caught my attention. 1931, using image restoration techniques, which is done by reducing noise and recovering loss of resolution, the date looks like 1931. Now, how many book stamps did Dr. Minassian have? Well, this is an invitation to dig deeper into his archives of 59 boxes and come to a factual conclusion. But before presenting you with this puzzle, I investigated 3 different sources for additional clarification. The first source that I investigated was the comprehensive volume on the Gladzor Gospels by the late Professor Avedis K. Sanjan of UCLA's Naregati Chair in Armenian Studies. The only indication that was available, and I quote, the year 1935 on his blue book stamp indicates the date the stamp was made, end of quote. The second source was the rare books of the Shimeon Brisman collection in Jewish Studies of Washington University in St. Louis. I found a book in Hebrew with Dr. Minassian's blue book stamp on it. Their website indicated, and I quote, the year 1935 on his blue book stamp indicates the date the stamp was made, end of quote. Immediately, I emailed the rare books librarian and inquired about the source of this statement. A month and a half went by with no reply. Finally, this past Friday, I went on a phone call spree and I called, I think, every single number on their website. Finally, a kind librarian put me in contact with the curator of rare books, Cassie Brand. She informed me that Rabbi Shimeon Brisman had worked at the UCLA Research Library. He was instrumental in the formation of the Jewish Studies collection. And he had an agreement with UCLA that he would purchase on behalf of Washington University in St. Louis duplicates of any book in Hebrew that UCLA had. So this is how a book owned by Dr. Garo Minassian with his blue book stamp is currently at the rare books of the Shimeon Brisman collection in Jewish Studies in Washington University in St. Louis. But Cassie didn't have any additional information on the source of the date that was stamped on the book. The third source was the Fowler Museum. Yes, we have in our holdings 94 objects from the Garo O Minasyan gift to the Special Collections Library. In 1977, these objects were transferred to our museum for proper care and storage. I went through the digital object files and images with the hope of possibly finding this book stamp or finding some kind of a note, some kind of an information about this famous 1935 date on the book stamp. Unfortunately, there were no book stamps and the puzzle remains unresolved. Wow, from the point of origin in Gladzor, Armenia, to UCLA, Los Angeles, California, United States of America, this book has traveled over 8,300 miles. And it's right here at the Fowler Museum where you can come and see it. And please do so. Please come and add to the historical patina of the pages. Well, I'm sorry, but our lunchtime is almost up. Here we are back home, wherever our homes are. And thank you for this wonderful, for your great company on this very special journey. Well, let me know when you're coming to the museum. I will roll out the red carpet for you. You have until February 27, 2022. And now I would like to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Professor Levon Chukasyan, Chair of History and Chair of Theory of Armenian Art at Yerevan State University, Republic of Armenia, and to Deacon Aram Ketenjan of the Armenian Church in Baghdad, Iraq, for his rendition of the Hayrmer, the Lord's Prayer, in the prelude of this presentation. Special thanks to my Fowler colleagues, Don Cole, Bianca Collins, Erin Connors, Jean McHugh. And now back to you, Bianca.
Thank you, Gassia. What a wonderful journey you took us on. We don't have any questions submitted yet, so if anyone has anything they want to ask, please submit now in these final minutes. It means you did such a great job. All right, good. We're getting some questions in. Wonderful. All right, so let's start with Alex's question. Alex wonders why the Shah moved so many Armenians to Isfahan. And thanks you for your wonderful presentation.
Oh, hi, Alex. Thank you for your question. That is such a complicated question. We have to, I am not all I can say is because of the skills and mercantile abilities and global connections of the Armenian merchants, that's why he deported them. He really wanted to be at the center, the Shah wanted to be at the center of the Silk Route, all the way from China to the Middle East. Actually, this is the book I use by Professor Sebu David Aslanyan, From the Indian Ocean to the Mediterranean. And it's fabulous. I cannot describe. I mean, every detail that you want is in this book.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sebu is a professor at UCLA, and we're actually doing a program with him, part of a 2-day symposium based off of the contents of that book.
Well, Alex, there you are. Your next date with the Fowler Museum.
Yes, that'll be coming in March. So keep your eyes peeled for that as we announce that. Little bit of sneak peek information for you all. All right, let's go on to our next question. What language is the Bible written in?
It is in Armenian.
Great. Thanks, Gail, for that question. And Ara wonders if you happen to know how many books were purchased from the physician in Isfahan.
As in how many books UCLA purchased from Dr. Garo Minassian? There is, not off the top of my head, but if Ara sends me an email, and my email is on the Fowler Museum's website, I can give him the exact numbers. But I can tell you, Ara, that this holy book was not purchased by UCLA. There is an inscription in the book that says that the book cannot be purchased, sold, stolen, and used in any kind of evil activities. So it was donated to Garo Minassian, who in turn donated the book to the UCLA Special Collections Library.
Right.
But write to me and I'll give you all the specific numbers.
And actually, we have a record of Ara's email address as well, so I can share that with you, Gassia.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ara.
So we've got a lot of thank yous coming in, but those are the rest of the questions. So I just want to say thank you again, Gassia, for all of the careful research and consideration that you invested into this program about subject matter that's clearly very close to your heart. Your enthusiasm is so palpable, and we're so lucky to have you as part of the Fowler staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being with me today.
Yeah, thank you to everyone who joined us. This program has been recorded and it will be available immediately on the Fowler's Facebook, and in several days it'll be uploaded to our Instagram and the Fowler website for you to revisit and share. And we hope that you'll join us again for our next program. You can find details on the closing slide. In the meantime, have a great day, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.